This video is about a reconditioned early British Streamline model. This was manufactured and marketed not long after the Second World War, so roughly 1946 to I think about 1960. Not quite clear on that one. But this one has been reconditioned by us at Aquaspimenti and looks in pretty good condition. So I'll show you how to work this one. This one is slightly different from the later models in that it had a chrome plated metal body and, like the earlier Type C and Ds, the head is actually made out of tin pewter, but it has a plastic cover over the top, and some of them had a chrome plated metal cover, but those are pretty rare. The mechanism, regardless of whether it's got a plastic cover or a metal cover, is essentially the same inside. You've got a casting, which is pewter casting, which is like those on the earlier Sparklets Type Ds, and then it's been covered over with this pretty coloured plastic cover. The piercing pin assembly and seal is different to the later ones. In the later ones you have a small O-ring seal in there. In the early ones you have a big sort of fat donut, roughly donut shaped seal in there, and we have those made for us to replace these ones, and they're functionally identical to the original ones, which is why we can recondition these. So I'll show you how these can be gassed up. So in these early models, instead of having a plastic sleeve, you have a metal one, and this can't be removed by the user. You can't get it out. So if you need to clean it inside, it can be quite difficult. You need to use a pump, basically, lots of water and a pump, and flush it out many times. Make sure it's clean. The other difference is that these Streamlines, instead of using a neck seal that's about 3 to 4 millimeters thick, these one need a neck seal that's about 6 to 7 millimeters thick. And it's also a good idea to use one of our specially made plastic dip tubes, which has a flared top, so that the tube can't actually be blown through the rubber seal if the rubber seal starts to get a bit slack with age. So that's improves its reliability and longevity. So what we do is fill it up with water. As like the other ones, it takes a quart, 2 pints of water, and the internal sleeve inside will stop you overfilling it. That is unless it's got corroded inside. That sometimes happens. You can see that that's filled up right to the top. Shake off the excess, and the water is now up to about that level inside, and there's a nice big airspace in there, which you can't see, of course. Now, if the level goes down after you've filled it up, don't top it up. You just top it up once, and then that's enough water. And as you can see here, there's just a bit of water. This is a 1 litre jug, so there's still a bit of water. So it's about 900 ml that we put in. Now, put the special dip tube in. It just goes straight in the top like that. Carefully align the head. And then twisting the body, holding it by the spout, tighten it down quite strongly. There we are. So that's all ready to go now. Now, this is roughly about the period this capsule holder. That just goes on there. Carefully align it with the thread. There shouldn't be any significant resistance at all when you just line it up. And then slowly screw it down until you begin to feel a little bit of resistance. Now that's just resting. The neck of the carbon dioxide capsule is now just resting on the seal in the feature, and then slowly turn it down like this, probably about a turn, and then as the gas is going in, shake it like this. You can hear the gas still going in there. You don't want to rush the gas getting in. It's better if it goes in slowly rather than in a big rush, even though that may take 10 or 20 seconds longer. Right, well that's nearly finished. I can barely hear a few bubbles of gas going in now. Now, like the Type D versions, this had a non-return valve built into the gassing up feature here, and that has a rubber seal in it, and given that this was probably made in about 1950, the original seals, if they're still there, are generally highly degraded and are very cracked, etc. And you've got very little choice, or you're extraordinarily lucky if you find one that actually works and holds its water and gas in. So those have been replaced with a modern item that fits the original sealing feature. Had to be specially made for us, and that allows this siphon, the non-return valve, to work properly. Now you just unscrew this and you'll get a slight hiss of gas. And that's because between that and the bottom of the socket there's a small space, and as this gets pulled out, the gas just escapes. Now, what you can see here is everything's fine. There's no water leaking out of the central piercing pin there. It's all dry in there. No hissing of gas. So that's all working properly. Similarly, no water dribbling out of here. So the seals in there are all, because they've been replaced, they're all working properly. And there's no gas or water dribbling out from underneath the head, which is another common problem, which would have been solved by putting on one of our special neck seal dip tube combinations, which is available from our eBay partner Recon Siphons. So there we have it. Ideally we want to put that in the fridge for a couple of hours to chill down, and that allows you to get a much better mouthfeel on the water that you're going to dispense, but we don't really have time for that. So here we are. We filled it with water, the right amount of water. It's all sealed up. We put gas in. Now let's dispense some water. I'm doing that just very gently, just to show. You can see that's rather fizzy, bubbly water. That's because it's quite warm. If it had been chilled down to 4 degrees centigrade, most of the bubbles would stay, or most of the carbon dioxide would stay in the cold water, and you'd get a better sort of mouthfeel to it. More zingy drink. Right. So what you may have noticed there is just at the end, you'll get a couple of little drips of water. But that shouldn't continue for much more than a few seconds, because you get some water trapped in the pipe within the spout, and if you tease it out, it just dribbles out, but you're talking 6 drops. At the time they would have actually marketed an accessory drip tray to go with this to catch those drops, so they didn't stain your tables, stuff like that. And those are available from us too, but they're pretty rare. Okay, so we've showed you this early British streamline from about 1946 onwards, and how we can recondition it and make it fully working. And isn't it a lovely piece of art? Thanks very much for watching. This video was brought to you by aquaspumante.co.uk. Bye.